Hey guys, what's going on? It's Jamie, Dean, and Kylie coming at you live from all over the world. It is, I don't know what it's like there, guys, but it is beautiful here. It is like spring is in the air. It is so warm. I'm actually babysitting right now. I don't know if you guys know that.
No.
Do you see any kids in the background?
No?
Yeah, I'm a good babysitter. So lucky enough, I have a amazing camper van that I've talked about a little bit, and they absolutely love this thing. They love this camper van so much, and it's like right in the driveway. So I'm like, okay, kids, you can go play in the camper van, and they're like, shrink, gone, and they stay there. They slept in it last night all by themselves. They love it like so much. I'm like, this is the best babysitting tool ever. So
You're
what's up,
letting your
guys? How you
secrets
doing?
out there.
What's up?
I said you're letting your secrets out there. I mean, Mary Poppins, eat your heart out.
Right? Maybe I got another course in the works.
Maybe she has a van in her bag.
Oh, maybe she probably does.
It's everything in that bag.
Yo. So what's up? How are you guys? How was your week?
Go on, Kylie, you first. Ladies first.
Always Kylie.
I mean, it's bank holiday here, but we're still in lockdown, so it's still very quiet. It has been really pretty though the last couple of days in terms of weather. So have been able to get some rays. I mean, I don't have a beach right near me like a certain someone, but it has been nice to just see some sunshine. Oh, it's been so lovely to see some sunshine.
Nice.
Yeah, the week's been good. The weather's getting warmer here, and yeah, beautiful day today. Although I was inside for most of it, but it was still lovely to see open the windows, let the air in, and yeah, the temperature's going to go down a little, but it's still nice. So happy days.
Dean,
yeah.
that tan says you've been outside.
Yeah, a little bit. Getting there, nice and brown.
Oh my god. I'm like Casper, man. Like this is my first winter back in Canada in 3 years. I spent the last 3 years on the beach in Mexico in my van, funny enough. And yeah, man, the last time I was this white was probably 2016, the winter of 2016. That was a long time ago.
It's a cold winter, was it?
It was a cold winter, a long winter. Cool. So our topic today, I'm pretty excited about. I've definitely gotten into this like put out what you want to get back kind of attitude where think poor, think rich. Does it affect the outcome? I've gotten to the point now where having conversations, I am very careful about wanting to be positive and like say positive things. I almost like when I say something in a negative connotation, I'm like, I got to take that back because like the universe is listening. And I don't know where it came from or why I started thinking that way, but it's just like, for me, it's a really refreshing way to always be like trying to put a positive spin onto something. Because I really connect with being like a realist, where I've always kind of said things how they were. And I think I can still be that way, but kind of like shine a light on it. So yeah, I'm excited to talk about this topic today. Where did this one come from, Dean?
It came from Rich Dad Poor Dad. I forgot his name. Robert. Something like that.
Kiyosaki.
That's the man. Yeah. Cool glasses. Cool vibe. Storyteller. Yeah. Really natural showman. A little bit eccentric. Interesting stories, and yeah, I think that this is powerful. It's one that he does like a video for. And that he says, you know, the kind of wealthier people with influence are telling him not to tell people about this, you know, keep it to yourself, keep them poor, that kind of mentality. So it's very powerful, and it's so true. And you touched upon, you know, you said you're a realist. And the problem with being a realist is that if you stayed a realist, you'd probably still be in your old job. You probably wouldn't have gone anywhere. You probably would have lived a not so colourful life in your instance. In my instance, if I was a realist, I would have stayed in a job I didn't like. I would have stayed in the shadows. I would have kept myself to myself, and I probably would have been far less happier. So what is realistic? I guess that's a question. What is realistic? Because self-made millionaires are definitely not realistic. They can't be. Because if you're realistic, you're going to play it safe. You're not going to take calculated risks. You're not going to venture out. You're going to stay where you are, where you've always been. And that's where you'll stay. And you'll probably be born poor with a poor mindset and die poor with, the government taking your tax, or, the money divvied up to all your kids. And there's a bit, all that life, all that work, and it generates not much. For the most part, for working class. So that's interesting. I think that also is a mindset related to thinking rich or thinking poor. That if you were to find the most successful people and the most poor, and you were to ask them about their mindset, the ones that are richer will probably have a much more successful money mindset than the poor.
Like an I can attitude instead of a poor.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I think the poor people think I can't, and the rich think, why can't I? What's missing?
Yeah,
what do I need to do?
How can
I? Yeah. Exactly. And that's the start of the mindset.
Like, even just hearing that, and it's like, it's so true how it's like, Kylie, you're gonna have to jump in on this, but it's like,
I am, don't you worry.
Whenever like I'm having a conversation with a group of people, you can put that out, the I cans between I can'ts, or the world is doing this to me instead of the world is doing this for me. It's so crazy how you can have the same words in a sentence and restructure them a little bit, and it's a totally different meaning. You know what I mean? Change a word here, change a word there. And man, it's like, think about all those stories you hear of millionaires where they started in the dumps. They started down and out. They were born in the streets, had like this crazy life growing up, and they just made it work. And like, that's it. That's the worst case scenario anyone can be born into, and they can get it there. And it's just somewhere along the way, their mindset was like, I can do this, and I'm going to do this, because on this planet, we can be anywhere anyone else is. The richest person, the most successful person to you, you can be there. And it just takes work. I think it takes work and dedication and an I can attitude.
Yeah, no, completely. It's that solution focused mindset, isn't it? I see there's something up ahead, and all it is something that I've just got to maneuver around. That's just a little something that I've got to figure out how I get around this, where obviously the poor mindset is associated with, this is an obstacle. Well, that's it. There's an obstacle there. I can't get over that. And there is that link between the two. I mean, I heard a fact the other day, when I was thinking about this, like, money mindset, rich, poor situation. And statistically, someone that's poor that wins the lottery is going to end up back in the same place. And someone that is rich, but for some reason loses their money, will find a way to remake it.
Yeah.
And that on a balance of probability, those things are going to happen, depending on your mindset and where you've come from. And it made me think about the I guess, time and money. So if you think about work, the poor mindset is, I'm going to build someone else's dream and get paid an hourly rate for it. Where the rich guy who's the entrepreneur, he's not restricted by his pay, because he's like, well, this is the time's mine to make this, because I'm paid by results. The poor person's paid by effort. I'm getting paid per hour. The rich guy's like, well, I'm getting paid for results. So it doesn't matter how many hours I've put in, because I could put in 100 hours and my product could be, or my service could be rubbish, and I'm therefore not going to get paid. I could put in 20 hours, and what I'm putting out is value and is incredible, and it's going to get results. So I'm going to get paid.
Yeah.
So that it kind of led me down that path of thinking of like those restraints in terms of like time and money, where obviously the poor guy, he's getting paid for effort and building someone else's dream.
So where do you think these limiting beliefs come from people? Like I know I've had them. I know I did. And with your story there about, I love the millionaire analogy about if a millionaire loses their money, they're going to get it back. For me, I know that. So like right now I have this house and I'm at a certain spot in my life. And if I lost everything tomorrow, I know I could get back here. There's not a doubt in my mind that I'll get here. But when I was 18 or 16 and didn't know, and you would have told me that this is where I was going to be today, I probably wouldn't have believed you. And I probably wouldn't have known how to do it and any of that stuff. So and the biggest thing, it's all stems from, a lot of it, I think, stems from the mentors we find growing up. And because some of these people that are millionaires, like I said, they were born to parents that weren't the best mentors in the world, or probably even worse, but somehow along the way they found one person that spoke to them. Nowadays, social media, I think, is amazing for that, because somebody who has nothing can find somebody online and get this motivation and watch this person every day, check into their YouTube videos, connect with them, and it's almost like they have this personal mentor guiding them along the way. And that's one thing I'm going to say about social media that is bloody amazing, and I love it for that, because we don't have to wait to stumble upon someone on the street. We can literally go out and find this person. And this is another thing, because I've had people be like, well, that person isn't a good person, and it's because whatever social media portrays or how this person is talked about in the media. I'm like, is this person motivating other people to do good things? If the answer is yes, then you know what, that is what it is, because I'm not going to listen to what the news is saying about this person or that person, especially if I don't know them. But if the advice and what they're saying online is motivating people to do good things, then I think that's social media at its finest.
It's interesting what you were saying. You were saying you wonder where this comes from. And I think that it's a mixture of two things. The first thing is our parents and those around us. I mean, my mum and dad, bless them, and they didn't say it in a way that they meant it. They said it in a way that they were probably taught the same thing. You know, they would say phrases like, money doesn't grow on trees. What, do you think I'm made of money? That type of thing. And that you hear that once, twice. I probably heard it 30 times. Not so much from me, from my sister, who used to always ask my mum for something, sweets or something, I don't know, or Christmas, she wanted something. And that's what mum said. What, you think money grows on trees, or do you think I'm made of money? And that just gets cemented in there, so much so. And the second factor, I believe, without a shadow of a doubt, is the school system. The school system teaches you to be a factory worker. It teaches you to be an output creator, and not even in a good way, not in a creative way, in the way that you conform to the rules and systems.
Yeah.
For me, it's so evident. And Rich Dad Poor Dad makes a note of this, and he says that his rich dad, the mentor, left school because his father died, and he had to take care of the business, family business. And by him doing that was his blessing. At the time, it wasn't, but him leaving school was a blessing. And he learned from real teachers. This is another point he makes, that the teachers in school, they're brilliant, and I think they're great. I don't dig on them, but they don't teach what they know. They learn a subject and then they teach it, but they don't teach what they do.
Yeah.
Right? They don't do this in business. They don't do this outside of the school system. And he makes a very good point, because I actually have a lot of sympathy for the teachers, because I feel that their hands are tied behind their back. They're chained to a curriculum that is out of date, not fit for purpose, and a complete waste of everyone's time. And people will disagree with that. I strongly believe that the school system belongs in a museum rather than a classroom.
Yeah.
It's outdated. It's Victorian. It's a waste of time. It's not fit for purpose. And I was a kid that lost out because I wasn't in the top bracket in the top classes, and I just didn't absorb what they were saying. You know, part of it was them, part of it was me. But I'm a kid, and the system in place is archaic and a waste of time. And a lot of people say to me, well, education is important, and I agree 100%.
Of course.
And the kids in the bag. I believe 100% education is important, but I challenge people and say, well, that's wrong. And they look at me like I've got two heads, which is fine. I say, good education is important, because I could give you education which is useless, like the schools do. I can't remember anything of value that I learned from school other than the social side and how I interacted with kids and social intelligence. Literally, I cannot think of much. I went to school since I was 4 to 16.
Yeah.
Something's wrong, but that's another subject for another time.
Dean said something that I completely agree with, actually. 2 things. One, I do think it starts at home. Like Dean, I remember the saying that was said all the time is, we can't afford that. I can't afford that. I can't afford that. And it becomes a little saying that you hear all the time. And that's the mindset. Oh, we can't afford that. We can't do that. And it carries on unless the pattern's broken somewhere along the line. And then when it comes to school, you're taught to get an education. If either way, get a job, 9 till 5, bring in the pay packet, pay the bills, and that's what you aspire to. And I guess there is a bit of anything else is maybe greedy, or anything else is unnecessary, or anything else is out of your reach. And in school, you're not taught about thinking outside the box and adding value to society and creating a product and going to be an entrepreneur or a business owner. You're taught that you need these set of strict skills that we're going to give you in order to go get a job. And that's it. Box ticked.
Yeah.
I feel like there's a switch sometimes, especially like having kids in my life now, that when there's children, you're always teaching them these moral values, and you're always trying to get them to be these good peoples and like help others and all of this stuff. And we're like feeding that to them. And then all of a sudden you get to be a certain age, and it's like, everything we taught you, stop believing that. Stop doing that. Now you're conforming to this. Now you have tests to pass. If you don't pass them, then you don't belong here and you don't fit in. It's like, it's so crazy how I see that so many times. With it's like when we're kids, we're always told to like use your imagination, things like that. When you're a kid, it's like go run around and play, and then all of a sudden there comes a part where it's like sit down and be quiet. Sit down and be quiet. You know, stop using your imagination. You don't have an imaginary friend anymore. That isn't right. And it's like I feel like if we were to harness that and actually like teach ourselves to use that as we grow into adulthood, we would be way better off than going and conforming to this educational class where it's like, just go, put your head down, work. And the thing too about like going to university and stuff is like, you go into university, if you don't have parents paying for this and you have to take out student loans and stuff, you're working for like 10 years to pay off that student loan. So you're like trapped. Like,
I paid student loan off the last final payment last year. So I've been working for nearly 13, at that point, I'd been working for 13 years, and a good part of my salary going towards my student loans. And feeling trapped, because it's just like, well, I've got this to pay off, and until I've got that until I'm free of that, then my salary isn't my own, and I need to get rid of this, rah, rah, rah. So it's all those traditional things that you're taught that this is the right thing to do and the right way of going about things.
Yeah.
And Who said it's the right way of going about things?
Right?
Going to university and ending up with, I'm not saying that university isn't brilliant, because there are many parts of university that I thoroughly am so grateful for that I got to experience. And I'm very grateful for my education, because it did open up some doors for me. And I'd never knock that. But that said, so many people have decades of debt potentially then behind them to clear off, working in a 9-to-5 job that they probably are miserable at. I'm not saying that everyone is, but a large amount are. For what? To pay the rent, to pay the mortgage. But where's the living? Like, because when you're on your deathbed, you're not going to be remembering those miserable hours at work. That isn't what you're going to be sitting there being oh so grateful for. And so where's the living? What are we living for?
Well, what stories do humans love the best? It's like that story where someone's like trapped in society doing that thing, and then all of a sudden something happens and they're traveling somewhere, and then they meet this like tribe or society that's somewhere just living off the land, and all of a sudden this person starts to do this, and this person has this realization that life is about living and like being connected with nature and being connected with land and being connected with people, and they go back to that. And it's like every single human being on earth, when they watch these stories, it connects with them, because it's what we're all supposed to be a part of. We're all supposed to be connected in this like greater thing. And then once we get put in this like, you know, you're a number, you're a pigeonhole, you're doing this, then that's when like all the depression and stuff sets in, when people are like, what am I doing this for? It's like, why do I have a nicer house, and why do I have bigger pills, and why do I have this nicer car, and why do I feel these feelings that like if my neighbor has this is the direction I need to go and stuff. Where I firmly believe that, so get this, for my job in my industry, there's an area called Fort McMurray, and it's like where all the oil sands is, all the big money in Alberta, and the companies there will pay your down payment for a house. So if you move up there and relocate, they'll give you like $40,000 to buy a house. And then also they'll give you like bonuses to buy a car and truck. So now you have $800,000 house to $1 million house, and you have a $80,000 vehicle. So your payments are like $2,500, $3,000 a month, $4,000 a month. So these companies know now you're trapped.
I was going to say, where's the catch?
Anywhere. You are staying right here, because if you don't have that job, you're not able to afford any of this stuff. You can't make that money enter any other way. So everyone's always like, oh my God, this is amazing. Such an opportunity. I can go up there. And then they're working 12 hours a day, 7 days a week, just working. And it's like everybody's miserable up there, and they just buy more toys and more things. And then it's like all that stuff they own them. And these companies are smart. They know what they're doing.
But so what's interesting, and to go back to a point before, you were talking about imagination. And this is key, because someone once said, knowledge is nothing without imagination. You might have heard of him, a little German scientist called Albert Einstein. He said that, right? One of the most smartest blokes that's ever lived. He said that imagination is more important than knowledge. It's at the base of everything. You cannot be creative without imagination. And going back to this idea of these Venus flytraps, as I like to call them, with work, with studying. In the UK, I think it's changed since Kylie was younger. They tripled it. It's about $9,000 a year now, tuition fees and everything with it. And what's interesting is you cannot be wealthy with debt. Impossible, unless you're a country, which they do very well with. But in terms of everyone else, it's I mean, the more debt you have, the more you have to pay off. And if you're paying off that, how can you save? And how can you then invest that money elsewhere? So it's another trap. And it's fascinating, because they pitch it in such a way that, okay, well, you're only going to be paying a percentage every month. They say things like that. They try and like downplay it. but you still got to pay it back, and it's still there. And I know they don't hold it against your name when you're buying a house or things like that, but it's still something you have to pay off. And there's no guarantee at the end of that you're going to have something at the end of it, because a lot of what happened in the UK was there was this huge stampede of people that wanted to study and get degrees, and the degree lost its value. It lost its value, I guess. Its precedent. When my mum and dad were young, if you had a degree, you were pretty much the smartest kid in the school, and only smart kids went to university. Whereas now it's just an influx of people, and it's kind of diluted. No disrespect to anyone.
They let me in.
Well, yeah, they didn't let me in, but that's another story. So now you've got a lot of the market is now saturated with people with degrees. So you have to go one step further. So you have to pay more money. So you do the masters. Then the masters. Well, a lot of more people got masters. So then you go PhD. You see what I mean? And it's a trap within a trap within a trap. I mean, it's like having a mouse trap inside a Venus flytrap inside one of them like monsters out of Star Wars in the asteroid. I don't know what they're called, but anyway, that's my imagination.
No, Dean, you're right. And because I had that, but then the other thing that you then get onto it is what university did you go to? So I got absolutely slammed in numerous interviews because of the university I went to. So it wasn't good enough that I had a degree, that I had a master's, that I had an LPC to qualify as a solicitor. It was then, well, you didn't go to these particular universities, so, you know, it's not. So, I mean, in that world, you're right, because it's so oversaturated now, and I'm definitely part of that generation. It does lose its meaning. But I was thinking what you guys think about the actual breakdown of, like, going back to the original point, think poor, think rich, and like of the actual mindset. Because if you think of, okay, we go back to think poor, and in terms of I'm stuck in this situation, I'm trapped, this is just the way it is, and all those negative conversations we're going to have. For me, I'm thinking, well, if you're in a situation where you're thinking negative and feeling negative, you're going to feel pretty bad about yourself, right? Mm. And if you're feeling bad, then you're not performing. And if you're not performing to your best, then you're not getting the results. And I can kind of break it down and kind of sort of see like the chain in that respect. And I wondered whether you guys have got any thoughts on that, or if you've got any further like elements you'd put into it.
From my own experience, I know that like when I'm thinking positive, and then in turn that gets me motivated to do something, and then I check something off the list, that in turn makes me think more positive, and I check more things off the list. So it's like that goes. But then when I get in a funk where I'm like thinking negatively or something's down on me, it's really hard to get that momentum back. You know what I mean? It's like it's so powerful the way we think. And that's like, we even learned that how the first thing to do to like feel a certain way is change your body position, be the way you are, start using energy, get some energy back. And that's why, you know, exactly, start moving around, like smile, like, okay, we're going to do this, we're going to get pumped up, right? And so I am such a firm believer that it's like how we think and how we act and how we like portray ourselves is going to like get us to like do those things and do what we need to do to like succeed. So for sure, I think it's I'd probably add to that a little bit. I would say in the sense of how it works in my mind is that your thoughts determine your feelings determine your actions determine your results. So if your thoughts in the beginning are negative and poor, the end result is going to be poor. Mm-hmm. If your thoughts are going to be rich, you're probably going to be more successful. A good way to, I challenge everyone at home not to do this right now, to those that listen. If you want to see the impact this has on a quite simple level,
kind of fun level. Go out for a jog and run to the best of your ability and do what you can, and then come back. And then a few days later, once you're rested and chilled out, do the same thing again, the exact same run. But what I want you to do is to imagine that you're now a millionaire. You're now super successful. You have all the cars, all the houses, or anything that you desired, the fame, the success, and just embody that feeling of you're successful, you're a leader, you're someone that's changing the world with whatever you want to do, and adopt that.
Running faster, Dean. I'm already running
That's
faster.
what I mean. You will notice even the way you're running, how you're running, your body posture, and your feeling when you're running, and the thoughts that run through your head are going to be completely different.
Mm-hmm.
And that I think that just shows you how powerful. If that can work on such a simple level, then it can basically change your life.
Well, it's that Tony Robbins statement, isn't it? Change your story, change your life.
Yeah.
It's powerful. Awesome. I think we are all in agreement here that it's like nothing bad comes from a positive mental attitude. And if you can harness that and think positively, positive things will come to you. It will happen, and you will start bringing these positive affirmations like into reality. It's just how it works. It's just how it's going to happen. Cool. Well, should we leave it at that, guys? That was pretty good info there. I loved it.
Yeah. That's a good
Cool.
one. Well
Awesome.
done.
Yeah, actually, it'd be kind of cool if anyone that is listening to this, like if there's anything that resonated with you or one single thing in particular, like leave a comment below and let us know what it was.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. That'd be awesome. And stay tuned. Depending on when you're watching it, we have an Instagram coming out that you guys can follow right away, hopefully. And there'll be some more new things coming down the pipeline. So yeah, comment, subscribe, do all that fun stuff. Click the notifications down, tell your friends. And yeah, thanks for watching, guys. See you later.
Bye.
Adios.